Hello and welcome to the Chinksey Sports Presents the Premier League show, powered by chinkseyMEDIA. We are back again later than usual for episode 33 for our third podcast in 8 days, making that 1 hour and a half's worth of great football analysis, which can be heard on all digital streaming platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts, to name but a few. But without any further ado, we go straight into the first midweek result of the week, which was at St James's Park in the game between Newcastle United and Everton, which ended one apiece. It took an 88th minute penalty from Everton striker Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who netted his first goal in 23 games, cancelling out Alexander Ishak's 15th minute opener for Newcastle as the Swede struck his 15th Premier League goal of the season to deny the Magpies their third home win on the spin. The point halted Everton's woeful recent run of form, which had seen them lose their last three Premier League games on the bounce and ubiquitously moved Sean Dyche's men further away from the dreaded drop zone. The next game was between Nottingham Forest and Fulham, which ended 3-1 to Forest. Nottingham Forest's first win in all competitions in their seventh attempt was enough to keep them out of the bottom three, especially with Luton Town yet to play at this stage. The Garibaldi caught the Cottagers cold after racing into a 2-goal lead in just 20 minutes. The first of which came after Morgan Gibbs-White, who has been a revelation this season, if I may add, fed Callum Hudson-Odoi, who cut in from the left wing and buried the ball beyond Bernd Leno in the Fulham goal. The second came after great improvisation from New Zealand striker Chris Wood, who spotted Leno off of his goal line as he slotted from 20 yards out. This was the second time that Fulham were trailing by 2 goals away from home in the space of 3 days. Forest, who were exhibiting some excellent easy-on-the-eye football, put paid to Fulham in the first half added time as Morgan Gibbs-White, who ran the game from midfield, made it 3-0 at half-time. An early second half consolation goal from ex-Manchester City defender Tosin Adarabioyo did little to dishevel a Forest side who looked determined to see the game out as the game ended 3-1 to the home side. Right, the next fixture was between Burnley and Wolves that ended one apiece. Burnley went 4 games unbeaten against a Wolves side beset by a host of injuries to key players with what was deemed as a disappointing draw at Turf Moor. The home side took the lead after Jacob Brun-Larsen's superb volley from a Dara O'Shea crossfield pass left Wolves goalkeeper Jose Sarr in no man's land as the ball ended up in the back of the net. In first half added time, Wolves preyed on some poor Burnley marking from a Pablo Sarabia free kick, with Ryan Ait-Nouri bagging his third goal in his last 4 games in all competitions. The impressive 22-year-old Algerian left wing-back was through on goal again in the second half, but forced a tremendous point-blank save from Ari Muric to keep the scores level as the game ended one apiece. The next game was between Bournemouth and Crystal Palace. It ended 1-0 to the home side, Bournemouth. In a game between two sides landlocked in mid-table, a mid-table on the beach square-off if you like, one devoid of much quality, Bournemouth came out on top to secure their 4th win in their last 5 matches. It took some great play from Antoine Semenyo on the Bournemouth right flank, displaying great strength and poise to find Justin Kluivert, whose delicate touch and finish was all that was needed to seal all 3 points for Andoni Iraiola's men. Incidentally, Iraola has been nominated for the manager of the month for the month of March, along with Jurgen Klopp, Ange Postecoglou, and Mikel Arteta. Right, the next game was between West Ham United and Tottenham Hotspur in a feisty London derby. Tottenham, with top 4 rivals Aston Villa playing a day later, passed up a golden opportunity to enter into the top four, usurping the Villains in the process. As Ange Postecoglou's side struggled to break down a resolute low block, which also proved to be their undoing in the corresponding fixture earlier on in the season. Spurs, who took the lead after their in-form Wales wing whippet of a wizard, Brennan Johnson, scored after Timo Werner's signature move of feigning one direction, then shimmying onto his left foot to square the ball across for a teammate. That left Brennan Johnson with the easiest of finishes. Tottenham, who have been susceptible from set pieces all season long, conceded an equaliser after Hammers captain Kurt Zouma headed in a fantastic corner from Jared Bowen, who will surely be crowned Hammer of the Year. With Arsenal on the horizon, Ange Postecoglou will have to, if not arrest but address the set-piece issues, considering the Gunners have scored a league high of 18 goals from set-pieces in the Premier League this season, with the likes of Gabriel, Saliba, Kai Havertz, Al, all prominent aerial threats from Declan Rice's deliveries. The next fixture was the game between Brentford and Brighton Hove Albion, which ended 0-0. In a match between the two sides, Brighton Hove Albion and the Bees, or should I say the Bees v the Seagulls, ended in a 0-0 stalemate as both sides toiled in front of goal and played out a goalless 0-0 draw. That draw meant Brentford are now winless in 8 outings, but they'll view that as a point gained in their quest to avoid the drop. Right, Wednesday's fixture between Arsenal and Luton Town ended 2-0 to the Gunners. A routine Arsenal victory ensured Mikel Arteta's men returned to the top of the table, albeit for 24 hours. Arsenal took the lead after the impressive returning Hale End graduate Emile Smith-Rowe cut out a loose ball from Luton wing-back Alfie Doughty, robbing Arsenal fan Pelly Rodok Panzu before a 1-2 between Kai Havertz and Martin Odegaard ended with the latter coolly slotting the ball into the back of the net beyond the despairing Thomas Kaminski. Furthermore, a cutback from the aforementioned Smith-Rowe, who capped off a man-of-the-match display with a cutback from the left byline towards Reece Nelson, another player making a rare start, in what was a much-changed Arsenal starting 11, forced Japanese defender Daiki Hashioka to steer into his own goal as the match ended 2-0 to the Gunners. The next game was also on Wednesday between Manchester City and Aston Villa, ended 4-1 to the Citizens. A fabulous and thrilling hat-trick from Phil Foden, who has probably been the player of the season in the Premier League this season, ensured that Manchester City returned to winning ways in their pursuit for a fourth successive Premier League title in their assault for a second successive treble-winning season. After Rodri's opener was cancelled out by young Villa teenager John Duran, the Phil Foden show began. Firstly, the England international, seen as many as a generational talent, stepped up to score a sensational free kick in first half stoppage time before he added another 2 second half goals for his 20th and 21st goals respectively in the season. The second of which was a stunning strike worthy of winning most goal of the month contests as City closed the gap on the title rivals Arsenal and Liverpool. Speaking of Liverpool, their game between Sheffield United and Liverpool ended 3-1 to the home side Liverpool. Liverpool, who were made to work for their victory against the league's bottom side, took the lead after Ivro Gribic's clearance hit Uruguayan striker Darwin Núñez, who had closed him down and the ball ended in the back of the net. Sheffield United grabbed an unexpected, unlikely equaliser after a carefully caressed cross from James McAtee was headed into Conor Bradley by Gustavo Hammers just before the hour mark, as the Blades threatened to curtail the Anfield table-topping party. However, With over half an hour to play, there was more than enough time for Liverpool to score, and they did just that after Alexis McAllister's come off the hour, come off the man moment came. After a rocket-like shot that Ronnie O'Sullivan would have been proud of, headed straight into the top corner. The Argentine went close again with a fantastic effort from a free kick, which hit the crossbar this time. As Sheffield United pushed for an equaliser, Dutch substitute Cody Gakpo, who hasn't had the best of seasons so far, headed home an Andy Robertson cross to secure the 3 points for Jurgen Klopp's men and ensure the Reds were on course for the title, provided they won the rest of their remaining fixtures. Right, in the game between Chelsea and Manchester United, which was a Thursday kickoff, last but not least, this game turned out to be a thrilling anticlimax of a match with more twists and turns than a theme park roller coaster. Firstly, Chelsea raced into a 2-goal lead after an early goal from Conor Gallagher inside just 5 minutes and a typically cool as a cucumber Cole Palmer penalty after Anthony was adjudged to have fouled Marc Cucurella. Chelsea did their best to let United off the hook though, as Moises Caicedo's terrible pass was cut out by Alejandro Garnacho, whose finish past George Petrovic halved the deficit against the run of play. Just 5 minutes later, Bruno Fernandes equalised after he headed in his Portugal compatriot Diogo Dalot's cross to complete the turnaround, with the scores poised at 2-2 at half-time. The game was level until Garnacho headed in to finish after a rapid counter-attack which saw the much-maligned winger Anthony pick him out with immense precision. With United 3-2 up and headed for the 3 points up until the 10th minute of second half added time, they remarkably contrived to not only draw level in the game, but lose it as a further Cole Palmer brace added to his earlier goal to complete what is his first senior hat-trick. He, along with Kobe Mino, are sure bets for the England Euro 24 squad. That's for sure. Okay, during the midweek fixtures, I only got 5 correct results and no correct scores, as there was a whopping 4 draws out of 10 games, which skewed the whole prediction process. Hopefully 40% of results aren't draws in this weekend's fixtures that I've just gone past. Right, so my first prediction of the weekend is the game between Crystal Palace and Manchester City. Obviously, we know what the scores are, but as this week's show has come after all 10 fixtures have been played, I'm just going to mention my predictions anyway. But from next week, I'll return to the usual format where I'll provide a detailed rundown of each and every fixture before I give my predictions. So, the Crystal Palace and Manchester City game, I went for a 3-0 Manchester City win. The game between Wolverhampton Wanderers and West Ham United, I went for a 2-1 win to Wolves. The game between Everton and Burnley, I went for a 1-0 win to Everton. The game between Aston Villa and Brentford, I went for a 3-1 win to Aston Villa. The game between Fulham and Newcastle United, I went for a 2-2 draw. The game between Luton Town and Bournemouth, I went for a 3-1 win to Bournemouth. The game between Brighton Hove Albion and Arsenal, I went for a 2-1 win to Arsenal. The game between Manchester United and Liverpool, I went for a 2-1 win to Liverpool. The game between Sheffield United and Chelsea, I went for a 2-1 win to Chelsea. And the game between Tottenham Hotspur and Nottingham Forest, I went for a 3-1 win to Tottenham Hotspur. Right, that was a quicker show than usual. The last of 3 podcasts in 8 days. Been a hectic week. However, next week we'll be back to the usual format where I can, like I mentioned already, go through the predictions in a more thorough and intricate depth. However, in the meantime, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And we'll be back again next weekend. Bow!